Neptune transiting the Ascendant degree. The Ascendant is the degree of the first house of the horoscope, and it represents the self, the person. And your physical body, your path in life, your direction in life. So it's the most important house in astrology, and whenever a planet aspects it, a big change on the path of your life happens, and a big change in your own, how you express yourself, in your own image, and even health can happen. And the opposite degree of the Ascendant is the Descendant, which is the 7th house cast, which has a relation to your partnerships, to marriage, to commitment, to finding a partner, and relationships, So anytime Neptune transits the Ascendant, whether it's through an exact conjunction passing exactly over the degree of your Ascendant, through an opposition 180 degree, which means that it passes exactly opposite the Ascendant, or exactly over the degree of the Descendant of the cusp of the 7th house, which is relationship, or passing 90 degrees from the Ascendant, which is called the square, you will always feel the Neptune influence in similar way and quite potently. And this process of the transit of Neptune opposition, conjunction, or square to the Ascendant continues for about 2.5-3 years. And if you know the exact time of your birth, you can only know when is the exact time Neptune will aspect your Ascendant, because even 5 minutes difference in your birth time, you can offset this transit, the effects of this transit, with about a year. So it is important to have quite a correct time within 2-3 minutes. And this transit happens very rarely. Neptune transit to the Ascendant once in 50 years, 65 years. For every person is different. So it's a once in a lifetime transit, basically. And for some people it never even happens. But what happens? Neptune loves to dissolve the old. So it will dissolve, first of all, very likely the Ascendant, anything to do with you. So you might become discontent on the path, on the current path of your life, that you are on the current self-identification you have. The Ascendant is you, what you're doing in your life, where you're supposed to be in this life. And Neptune gives this discontent and longing for something bigger or better, or something which more authentically expresses your real self. And that's why often people can change direction in life, from going from one place and direction in life to a completely different one, even career, vocation, because the first house is what we are. And if you're no longer happy with the way you're living in your life and the activities you're doing in your life, you will change your career, you will change your vocation. And it's not exactly a job change, like going from one job to another. It's much more to do with the whole calling that you have in life. And but at the beginning, always this process can be quite hazy, and you can be quite unsure, and you can lose yourself in your path, because Neptune is like a fog, and it wants to dissolve the things you have already in your life, and it can dissolve the things that you identify with. The Ascendant is the self-image that you have built for yourself, who you are, how others see you, how you see yourself. So all this is undermined, or it's kind of no longer valid for you anymore, and you start letting go of it and longing for a better expression of who you truly are. The Ascendant as well is to do with your physical appearance. So when Neptune transits there, you can make some changes in your physical appearance. And your health as well. The Ascendant rules the physical body, and Neptune can weaken the immune system of a person during this period, and it put much more phlegm and watery conditions in the organism. Like colds and certain other different kind of watery illness, which are caused from too much phlegm, too much of the watery element. Neptune will sensitize your body, will make you, for many people during this period, Neptune transiting the Ascendant will make them much more sensitive to any kind of chemicals, or for instance, any kind of drugs you can take. You can have a very strong reaction to those. You can much more easily get poisoned when Neptune is transiting the Ascendant. So for those 2.5 years, try to stay away from allopathic medicine. More homeopathic will be better for you. Neptune is also alcohol, and anything which takes your mind away from reality, anything which is toxic or which is not natural, alcohol, cigarettes, any kind of substance which changes also the state of your mind, because Neptune is a planet of escaping reality. So you might be much more inclined to, to succumb to such vices, or to such activities which take you out of your body, out of the present consciousness. And Neptune is also, the more positive side of Neptune is maybe daydreaming much more, or watching much more TV, any way of escaping reality, and person becomes much less practical than any other time of life. If you're wanting to start some business during this period, or to be organized and ordered in your life, it's much more difficult. You might lose ambition, you might lose direction. Neptune is dissolving all this. Neptune is dissolving your focus as well. So there might be an identity crisis during this period, till you find your real path, but better path after that, because you're learning to let go of the old path in your life. So this kind of, you might be feeling like you're swaying in the currents and not knowing where to go, and wherever the currents push you, you kind of tend to drift with that, and you become much more impressionable during this period. So others can use you with, or can take advantage of you, or can instill their own ideas on you and make you, drag you into their own personal matters or problems, because you become much more, first of all, impressionable, and second of all, much more sensitive and much more compassionate to others. And it's good when you're compassionate if you're putting your efforts to helping someone who really needs it, for some worthy cause. But sometimes a compassion can be quite twisted in this, and it might happen in impressionability in a way that you sacrifice yourself for people or causes which are not worthy, or which are using you, which are taking advantage of your kindness and increased sensitivity during this period. But you definitely become much more willing to give of yourself during this period. So for those of you who are generally not like that, it can be positive growth for the character. But other weaker people, they'll feel much more vulnerable during this period, and as if others are taking advantage of them, and they can feel like, even if they're realizing this, they don't have the strength to stand up for their own selves and to assert themselves, so that the assertive power goes away, and their action ability goes away, and their directness somehow might be swayed, and so be careful, so that you're not deluded by others, that you're not taken advantage of, that you're not making sacrifices which are giving way too much from yourself rather than receiving. And all these are actually quite, it's quite a possibility that you see in your relationship, because as we said, the transit to your ascendant always affects the 7th house of relationships. So during this time of life, a person, during a Neptune transit, a person might fall in love very much for another, and it's kind of almost unrequited love, or love from distance, someone you cannot really have, or platonic love, or love with someone who is already engaged, or who is already with someone else, or a relationship in which a lot of longing is created, and a relationship which can feel extremely romantic. It's soulmate relationships, but in most of the times it's just in the eyes, in the head of the person, because they become much more romantic during this period, much more willing to see what they want to see only, and to see, and not to see, and even if they see the negative or the weaker side of the person they're connecting with and they're in love with, they're willing to make big sacrifices for this person, no matter what, just to give unconditional love. And they expect that, if they give unconditional love, the other will respond like that. But often it is not like that, because the high vibrations of Neptune, they're unconditional soulmateship love. But our Earth is very dense and coarse, and, it dirties those purified impulses that are born within you when you have Neptune transit. And even if you try and give them to someone to express this refined love and this much higher sacrificial love, you might not get the same response, So there can be disillusionment, disappointment, or cheating and lying during this period from your partner, or you attracting a partner who is very glamorous and who you cannot see through the fog and through the glamour and through the appearance. and you keep putting them on a pedestal, you can attract someone that is very sensitive, Neptunian, like who you want to help, who you want to save. And in the worst case scenario, this person will take advantage of you. In the best case scenario, you actually really help another soul on their path in life. So they're very extreme, very extreme expression of this transit. It can be a relationship which is very much soulmateship relationships, twin souls or whatever they call it, that where you share the same romantic desires, where you share very strong longings and very strong spiritual connection between you. This is the best expression, and actually giving a lot of yourself and helping another person. And the other expression is the lowest expression of Neptune, is when someone is taking advantage of you because of your kindness too much, or is deluding you, is promising you things they cannot deliver. You seeing them through the images you want, or someone is cheating on you. There is some kind of a mist and fog around those people, because Neptune is fog and mist, and the lowest expression of Neptune transit the Ascendant and aspecting the seventh house of relationship is that they can be illusion and lying in the relationship. So it's either one of the two possible, either the most positive expression on Neptune, which is like soulmate relationships, or this kind of a deceit and betrayal or delusion or longing, which you just cannot have this person. You can you have a little bit, but you're giving much more, you're sacrificing much more for relationships than you're getting back. And this will depend very much on the personal horoscope. So to really know what's happening, what's going to happen is what aspect is Neptune making to the rest of the horoscope. So I cannot tell you which expression of Neptune will come exactly in your life, but it will be between those two. Or it can be a little bit of one of the best, a little bit of the more negative expression. But whatever it happens, your relationship is spiritualized. You are spiritualized, sensitized through your relationships and contacts with others. So this transit is to actually make you much more gentle and kinder person and tolerant, and to make you long for something higher, for a better expression of yourself, and for a higher expression of love, and for more giving. So if people are always selfish before in their relationship, when Neptune comes to the Ascendant in a transit, they become much more giving. So it's a growth for you personally, and they learn to love without conditions, more unconditionally during this period. So it can be extremely romantic and mystical and the dreamy period of your life, but it can be very frustrating because you're feeling lost and like you don't know what to do and where you're headed to, confusion and strong longings to do with your relationships as well, or your own goals. So you can be vacillating from one direction of being very inspired, which is the high expression of Neptune, very inspired and creative and sensitive and inspired for things which are almost unrealistic, high-minded and having big visions and ideals, to the other expression, which is feeling confused, the lowest expression, feeling confused and, being in a fog and mist and being easily deluded. So it's good to ask the objective advice of friends around you who are more impartial to the situation, because they can help you better, because you yourself are not seeing things clearly during this period. You're seeing them through a more emotional bent, through a more subjective bent, through a more Neptunian. Neptune is like a mist around you, whatever you're experiencing, often it can be like a roller coaster of emotions going up and down, some beautiful things happening in you, the highest expression of Neptune, which is romantic, which is inspiring, which is opens up your heart to makes you experience feelings of such depth and inspiration that you never felt, and then it plunges you down to confusion and loss. But actually starting Neptunian activities are positive during this period, which is creative work, which is inspirational work, which is if you're starting an alcohol business, or if you're starting any kind of Neptune career, which is usually of the more inspirational, artistic, creative ones that can actually be successful during this period. But for other more detail-oriented business ventures, more practical, everyday affairs, discipline, all these things are quite kind of dissolved during this period, so you might lose your direction a bit, as I said. So please, everyone, share what happened in your life while Neptune is around. I tend to scare people a bit more because I want to stress out, what the more negative things they can expect. But always after the end of such a transit, a person learns very important lessons, and they have grown to a higher, more refined expression of themselves. Neptune is a refining influence, a higher vibration. A more unconditional love, as I said. So it gives a bit of this to you in your life, and it makes you more compassionate and kind. So what did you learn at the end of this transit? Please share with us. And how did you manage to overcome those spirits? It's usually Neptune wants you to let go and let God. So any of its transit, you're trying to use your willpower. It's a bit difficult, and you have to basically big currents, life currents take you in the direction they want. So you have to learn to relax and let go, and uh, go where God takes you, basically, where fate takes you. So please share with us what your experience of Neptune transit, the Ascendant is, or the Descendant, the seventh house as we know it. Was it relationships? Was it big longings to do in relationships? Was it changing the direction of your path in life? Was it a period of more confusion or a period of more inspiration? Thank you very much.